Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another PC Boys podcast. I am your host, Logan Locke. Before we get started with today's podcast episode, I will have the link tree in the description down below. Please go follow us on our X and join the Discord, as that is where I post most updates and upload information for when new videos and whatnot go up. So do go follow me there. But without further ado, let's get into today's review. So this is my most anticipated review of the year that I've been waiting to do on the podcast. And I haven't done video game reviews in a long time. And the simple reason is, well, there hasn't been many video games or movies that I've been excited to talk about in any form. And that's unfortunate to say, but Doom is always that franchise. It's my second favorite franchise of all time, but it is the one franchise that still gives me everything that I'm looking for and excited about when it comes to a gaming franchise. So this game is the prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. That can both play into a strength and weakness of the game. I think if you're playing this game for the story, it weakens the fact that you kind of know where the story goes and where it ends ultimately in Eternal's DLC. But when it comes to the lore of, Argent D'Nur, the Sentinels, and where Doomguy was after the older games, it definitely makes that much better. Like, it's something you're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And I want to learn a lot about it. And I'm a huge nerd, so I like to learn everything I can about the Doom lore and read the codexes and whatnot. And this game did all of that, but it gave me a lot of new questions. Before we get into any of, the spoiler stuff in terms of, the story and stuff, let's talk about the gameplay, right? This is the most important thing when it comes to a Doom game, next to its soundtrack, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The gameplay is amazing here. Now, personally, I am more of a fan of Eternal's combat. Eternal is a game that, in my opinion, is probably my favorite FPS of all time. Doom Eternal is a very high bar to beat. I had no, thought in my mind that Doom the Dark Ages was going to surpass Eternal. Eternal is a pretty high bar. And this game, however, did a very good job. I think it's better than Doom 2016 for me personally. I think it's faster than 2016, and I've heard some people say 2016 is faster than this game. I don't believe so. With the shield bash mechanic, where you can essentially launch yourself across the battlefield and smack into your enemies, and or if it has to do with turning the game speed sliders up, so when it comes to how fast you move and strafing, it makes that a lot faster than Doom Eternal, in my opinion. Doom 2016. But Doom Eternal still reigns supreme in the speed category when it comes to these games. So speed-wise, I definitely prefer Eternal. Plus, Eternal also had you using every mechanic in the game. Of course, using all the different weapons and their different, mod attachments to take out certain enemies with combos. Like, for instance, if you're fighting the Marauder, the Ballista Super Shotgun combo is normally what I did. And then if I was fighting a Mancubus, what I would probably do is I would do Ballista Super Shotgun and RPG combo. Normally that got the job done for them relatively quick. In this game, it's a lot like Doom 2016 in the sense that you can stick with one gun the entire game. Now, this game has less weapons than Eternal does, and they are very unique. They have weapon mods in this game, just like Eternal does, and just like Doom 2016. However, I will say the implementation of mods in this game is better. So with Doom Eternal and with Doom 2016, you had to use your D-pad to equip your different weapon mods. In this game, all you have to do is push the X button, which in my opinion is a lot more streamlined and a lot more easier than doing it the way it is in Eternal in 2016. So I do think that that was improved upon. But there is less weapons in the game here. And essentially each weapon has two versions of itself, right? So the accelerator would be your plasma rifle, your bolt gun or spear gun in this game or nail gun would be your AR in this game. You have your combat and super shotgun. And the funny thing is, in Eternal, those were two separate weapons, but in this game, they are the same weapon, but it's a mod attachment. So your super shotgun can essentially switch to your regular combat shotgun by just pushing the X button instead of having to use the weapon wheel. So they also combine multiple weapons. I would say really the only new weapons in this game, if we're not talking about them being a variant of some kind, would have to be ultimately the Reaver Chain Shot. That is a brand new weapon, the BFC, which is basically the BFG, but in my opinion, it actually requires mastery. So with the BFG, you could shoot it literally anywhere and it would take out all targets regardless if it touched them or not. The BFC, as they call it in this game, you do have to hit either an enemy or the ground around enemies to kill the enemies. You can't just shoot it randomly in the air and have it blow people up. I didn't find myself using it all that often. I find myself using the BFG a lot more in Eternal and 2016 than I use the BFC in this game. And ammo for it seemed a lot more scarce in this game as well. But for me personally, it wasn't anything crazy. The Reaver Chain Shot, I didn't use that much either. It's definitely a good weapon for fodder enemies or the more medium type enemies. But against the bigger enemies, I think the RPG was a better choice. And the RPG in this game also gets a grenade launcher variant, which is new. However, I just prefer to use the RPG over the grenade launcher personally. It did more damage, and ultimately, it was just the one I preferred. So, they took things that essentially could have been different weapons on the weapon wheel, and they modified it. So, I guess you could say that they are different weapons, but it's much more streamlined. So instead of having like 50 weapons on the weapon wheel, it's much less, and they just make it a modification that you push a single button to switch between rather than having to use the actual weapon wheel to go to a different weapon. But ultimately, though, you can use one weapon throughout the entire game, because the way that you get ammo in this game is punching enemies. Now, punching enemies in this game is essentially your chainsaw, except in my opinion, it's better than the chainsaw, because with the chainsaw, you would have to wait a certain amount of time before you get a recharge on it, or in Doom 2016's case, you would have to find a, gas tank fuel refill, except in Doom 2016, there was so much ammo around, you never needed to really use the chainsaw in that game. But when it came to Eternal, you had to. In this game, the punching mechanic is something that you can replenish by parrying, and that's relatively pretty simple to do since you're doing it all the time. So there's always, a way to get ammo. The shield is pretty much everything in this game. Parrying, throwing it to get ammo from enemies or health really quick. Bashing into enemies and stuff. The shield is very crucial in this game. And the weapons kind of take a backseat, in my opinion, because, like I said, you're either using one or two weapons. The two biggest weapons that I used in this game was the super shotgun, which I always love to use my super shotgun, and then the not the plasma rifle, the accelerator, but with the twin barrel upgrade. Those were the two weapons that I used the most in this game. Even over, like, the rocket launcher, stuff like that. I did use a rocket launcher quite a bit once I acquired it, but I didn't use it a heck of a lot. And the mace is really good. The mace does have some trade-offs, though. The mace is a weapon where it's a one hit on pretty much every enemy, and it's slow. Like, if you're, like, when you push the melee weapon to, like, load up a swing with the mace, if some enemy hits you, it stops the animation, and it takes so long to do that you probably die in the process. I died many times in the process of trying to use the damn thing, and it was infuriating. But, yeah, so that is one thing I definitely can say. The melee system is pretty cool, and in my opinion, it adds more variety than just using a chainsaw. So that was a really nice addition into the game. The shield play, I think, works out very well. I don't know why people say this game is slow. There's so many things you have to keep, keep up with in your mind. In my opinion, while on screen, maybe it seems like less is going on than Eternal because you're not flipping around the air and shooting, 50 different guns. You have to pay attention to your shield's health, what attack you can parry, what attack you can't parry, how many parries are coming in at once, because I've had multiple times where I had 3 different parryable attacks coming my way, health, etc. I will say, the two biggest enemies that I hated in this game was the Cosmic Barons and the fucking Cosmic Cacodemons. Those things fucking suck to fight. They're awful. They're by far the most annoying enemies in the game. The Pinkies in this game are easy to fight as well. It's as simple as hit the archer off the back, throw the, chainsaw shield into the Pinky, and then hit it with two super shotguns, and then, glory kill it. Pretty easy stuff. But that brings me to the next, fraction of the game, the glory kill system. A lot of people are complaining about it, like, oh, the animations and stuff are gone, which, don't get me wrong, the animations in Eternal in 2016 were really cool. I personally like this glory kill system better. And I know that's going to make a lot of people like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's such a bad take. I don't think it is. I think that the glory kills in this game, at least for how my brain works, streamline the combat, where instead of getting a breather to, take a second when getting health, I was constantly on the move in this game, including with the glory kill system. So, I liked it. I had nothing wrong with it. Personally speaking. And every glory kill had, like, impact on it. Like, you could feel it in your controller every time you got a glory kill in this game. So, ultimately, I think that this game was very well done. Personally, I think that this game's combat is very, very good. Not Eternal levels good, but good. I really enjoyed it. Now, my biggest critique of this game, it has nothing to do with gameplay. It doesn't even have to do with the story, because I'll get into that as, like, my next thing. That's where more of the spoiler talk and stuff will come into play. But the soundtrack. Yeah, the soundtrack here is okay. There are, like, 4 tracks out of the soundtrack I really like. Unholy Siege, really good track. From the Ashes is a really good track as well. Pursuing Demons, I really like that one. And then, oh gosh, what was the other one? When the Shadows First Lengthen, the main menu theme song. Those 4 tracks, in my opinion, are my favorites. I did like Infernal Chasm. That one's pretty good too. But the rest of them are all just kind of meh. I think that those 4 that I listed off are by far the best tracks in the whole soundtrack. I miss Mick Gordon. Or at the very least, Andrew Hulshult with his, tracks for the Ancient Gods DLCs. Those tracks were so good. Okay? In Eternal and 2016. So I was replaying through Doom 2016, leading up to Dark Ages coming out. And I was like, geez, this fucking game has such a good soundtrack. I think 2016 is the best soundtrack out of all the newer Doom games. I think Eternals has the second best. And then, of course, Dark Ages with the third best. Because when it came to every track in the Doom 2016 soundtrack, even down to just the ambient main menu music, which I believe was called Hellwalker, any of the, idle music, it just sounded so good. Meat Hook in Eternal, so freaking good. The Only Thing to Fear Is You, that one was really good. And, of course, even the Ancient Gods Parts 1 and 2 with Andrew Hulshult also had amazing, tracks. Especially, like the whole heavy combat, light combat. It was so well done. The major issue with this game is the soundtrack. I don't think it's not terrible. Like, it's not, like, the worst soundtrack I've ever heard. It's just, you can clearly notice the difference between this and Mick Gordon. Or Andrew Hulshult. You can hear the visible difference between the two. And there are, like I said, 4 good tracks in the Dark Ages that I listen to on repeat in my car or when working out, and they're really good tracks. But they're not on the level of what Mick Gordon brought to the table. So that is one of my major critiques. The only gaming critique that I have for the gameplay is the dragon missions. I was not a huge fan of the dragon missions. I like the Atlan missions. I know some people were saying it's just some stupid beat-em-up sections which didn't need to be in the game. I personally love the Atlan sections where you're just beating skyscraper tall demons and by plowing your fists in their face and shit. Like, I love that. I thought that was fucking awesome. I loved the mech stuff. But I was not digging the dragon stuff at all. And, I'm happy that id Software tried something new. because id Software, unlike most gaming companies today, which basically copy paste the same game over and over again, in this game they took some swings. Some of it I think hit when it came to the Atlan stuff. For me personally, I know that was not for everybody. A lot of people didn't particularly like the Atlan stuff, and then of course the Dragon stuff. So it was nice to see them try something different there. Okay, so hats off to them for innovating and doing something different, even if it doesn't pay off, because there's respect to put on that, right? But let's start talking about the story, and this is where the spoilers will come into play. So if you don't want any spoilers for the story, this would be the time to leave the review. But let's continue. So when it comes down to Doom: The Dark Ages story, the basic gist of the story is that you are the Doomslayer. You are on a Maker ship, the Creed Maker ship, and you are essentially being used as a super weapon to defend the ship and to defend the Sentinels when they call you, when they need you. And this game basically has Prince Azuric, who wants to rule over the demons of hell, and in order to do that, he must be the one that they fear. And the only thing that the demons fear is, well, Doomslayer. So, with that being said, Prince Azuric goes on a quest to find the Heart of Argent, which is like this artifact that will essentially give him power to rival, if not surpass, the Doomslayer. And the Heart of Argent, as we come to find out, is a spirit of a elemental wraith that is imbued inside of Thea, who is the daughter of King Novik. Now, for those of you that don't know Doom lore, the elemental race were the original gods that the Knight Sentinels of Argent-D'Nur, who they worshipped and essentially worked for, right? Until the Makers came down with Argent energy, and then they ended up worshipping the Makers. Now, the elemental race was kind of like a big question mark that I had for a while. Like, who are they? Where did they originate? And Eternal gave a little bit more answers. However, Doom: The Dark Ages basically just came out and was like, yeah, they hail from the cosmic realm. Like, they're descendants of the cosmic realm. And the cosmic realm in Doom: The Dark Ages is essentially this Lovecraftian-like world with monsters and stuff. So it's like a whole separate faction and stuff that we haven't seen in a Doom game. And a lot of people were comparing this to like Quake and stuff because it looks very Quake-like. But it has nothing to do with Quake. And you get to fight like Cthulhu himself. And there's actually a whole mission that takes place within you inside of his body. And you have to like blow up his heart from the inside to escape, and he's called the Old One. So there's a lot of like unique places you go, being the cosmic realm, and seeing how all that deals. And the cosmic realm, dude, is fucking trippy. Not only in like the visuals of like how it looks compared to Hell or Argent-D'Nur, but there are some puzzles in the game in those levels when you're finding secrets and currency and stuff like that trip you the fuck out. Like there's room moving around type shit. There's like endless tunnels unless you turn around or something like that. Like, it's very trippy. And some of them I could not do, like some of the puzzles. Though the one in particular, if you were watching my stream, that I tried to do was like the moving room one, where you had to like use your shield saw and it would like twist the room and you'd fall into water and out of the water and stuff. Yeah, I couldn't fucking do that shit. But it was really, really dope. I loved the look of the world. It was really beautiful, and it was really different. And, of course, that led to different, like I said, enemies that you fight against. There's the Acolyte, which is basically a Argent-D'Nur priest or worshiper that gets, like, turned into, like, this cosmic summoner, in a way. The Witch character in this story is from the cosmic realm. The Old One, the Cthulhu-like monster from the cosmic realm. The Cosmic Barons of Hell, they're basically the Barons of Hell in this game, but they're from the cosmic realm. The Cacodemons are basically, from the cosmic realm in this game and whatnot. So they do some different things with the cosmic realm, which I think is really cool. And it opens up a lot of storytelling opportunities, right? And in this game, the Doomslayer ends up, like, dying. Like, he ends up dying. And, like, this part, I don't understand it. He dies. He goes into the afterlife, basically turns into a zombie. but he's like still in control of himself and shit, and he's still murdering demons and everything, right? Even though he's dead. And he comes back to life via, I can't tell if he like fights his way back to life or if a ritual is done to bring him back to life. That part's still very unclear because you're playing through the mission and it seems like you're, fighting to come back to life, and yet the Night Sentinels are doing a ritual to bring you back, and they have the Slayer sarcophagus there that you're sealed in Doom 2016, and again sealed in at the end of Doom Eternal's The Ancient Gods Part 2, and they do this ritual and a bunch of blood fills the coffin, and then the Doom Slayer emerges, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So, I don't understand what happened. I can't even tell you guys, and I'm not going to make a Doom the Dark Ages Doom Slayer lore video, or, until I figure out what all this stuff means, by going through the codex, or talking to some other people that are more in tune with the lore and stuff, or if Hugo Martin comes out and confirms some things. But yeah, when it comes down to some of the lore here, it's like, what the fuck's going on? And when they're talking about, like, the elemental wraith inside of Thera, they're saying that, like, her power in the cosmic realm is even stronger than the Doomslayer. So, I don't know how that all is either. Like, there's so many unanswered questions, and new questions brought up in the course of this game. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? But essentially the story ends up with you, defeating King Azarek and the witch, and you end up, continue. Like, there's literally a scene at the very end where Doomslayer throws the head of King Azarek towards this whole horde of demons that are closing in on the Sentinels that, are basically being a distraction for you. And they see the head and they just fucking turn tail and run. And at the very end, we see King Novik and Thera basically talking to the Night Sentinels. And then, of course, them asking, like, where's the Doomslayer? Where's he been? And they say, oh, well, we haven't seen him since, he fought King Azarek. And we come to find out he has the Creed Maker's ship, and he's currently in hell fighting the demons still. Like, just choosing to just sit there and just fight demons. And then that's the end of the game, ultimately. So there's a lot of cool things in here, but basically is you have, Prince Azarek looking for the Heart of Argent and getting it. Then the Doomslayer dies, comes back to life, beats him up. He loses the Heart of Argent, and then the Doomslayer tracks him and the witch down in hell, kills them, and then stays in hell to keep fighting. And the war ends for now until the DLC comes out either later this year, probably next year, if I'll be honest with you, because if it's anything like Doom Eternal, the Ancient Gods Parts 1 and 2 didn't come out till the following year, so it'll probably be about a year before we actually get the DLC. But yeah, a lot of questions to be answered from this DLC, or excuse me, from this game. But I loved it. It was a very basic story. Clearly this game takes place before the Night Sentinels figure out that the Makers have struck a deal with Hell and making the Argent factory and whatnot. So clearly that is the it's before that, and it's before Commander Valen also betrays the Night Sentinels as well and the Slayer. So there's a bunch of stuff that is yet to happen in this game and in the story, which makes me wonder, like, what is Hugo and them going to do? Like, are they just going to continue to make prequel games to try to explain the gaps between the Dark Ages to Doom 2016, or are they going to just come full circle with that in the DLC, which I think would be the smarter thing? Because if you're going to make another Doom game, I want to see where the Doomslayer's journey goes post the Ancient Gods Part 2. Or do your DLC and then take a break from Doom for a while, work on Quake, like a Quake remake, or just wait a long time before you do another Doom game. But yeah, ultimately, gameplay was phenomenal, the music was okay, it was serviceable. And the story was really good. The cutscenes looked really well, and the performance is buttery good. I played on the Xbox Series S, and I didn't have any problems. I think the game crashed on me one time, but outside of that, it ran perfectly smooth. I know for PC Steam players in particular, it's been very rough for them. And PlayStation, I think, even has like some graphical issues going on or whatnot, but the Xbox Series S ran perfectly fine, and the X even better. But yeah, Doom the Dark Ages, out of 10, I give this game a solid 8.5. I think Eternal I would rate a 9. Like, Eternal is the only 9.5 Doom game that I can rate. Doom 2016, I think, is a solid 8 as well. But I prefer this game over Doom 2016. Doom 2016 is a, it's got a great soundtrack, very, basic story, but the gameplay is fucking phenomenal. I just prefer the Dark Ages. Aesthetically, I prefer its gameplay over Doom 2016, and Eternal is just king. Doom Eternal is very hard to beat. And I did end up buying the Collector's Edition for Dark Ages. You can't see it right now, but behind the green screen that I have up is the, Doomslayer statue, and it is fucking awesome. It's badass as shit. I do have my disc copy over here, so I did get the premium edition with that, so I get the DLC, the Divinity skin pack, soundtrack, and digital art book, etc. The only Doom game that I have that I didn't buy the special edition for was the very first game, but that's because it came out in 2016. I wasn't even 18. I literally just started high school when this new Doom trilogy started, so I couldn't even buy it if I wanted to. But the last 2 Doom games I bought in, at least not the Collector's Edition. I bought the Dark Ages Collector's Edition, but I bought the Deluxe Edition for Eternal. I wanted to buy the Collector's Edition for Eternal, but they sold out by the time I was able to, go buy it, unfortunately, but it is what it is. At least I got one of them. But yeah, that is all that I have for my review of Doom: The Dark Ages. I very highly suggest you guys to either go out and buy this game or play it on Game Pass. It is well worth your time, and it is a fun time. And if you're somebody that's maybe, you don't care super heavily about Eternal or 2016, you'll probably love this game a lot, right? Obviously, when it comes to the Doom fan bases, there are people that love Doom 2016 and it is the best thing ever. There's the Eternal crowd where it's the best thing ever. And the Dark Ages doesn't seem to be pleasing either side of that to the fullest extent, so it's kind of like the black sheep of this trilogy. As much as I love Doom Eternal, and Doom Eternal is still my #1 favorite Doom game out of this new trilogy and just the Dooms in general, this is easily the second favorite for me. I like this better than Doom 2016. I know some people might find that crazy, but I prefer the gameplay of this game and the lore building and everything in this game over Doom 2016. And that's not Doom 2016's fault. Doom 2016 was the very first game in this new trilogy, right? It was setting the groundwork of the story, of the gameplay, and the music and how everything would be from here on out. So, it's not Doom 2016's fault. Doom 2016 is my 3rd favorite Doom game, okay? It is a very solid game, and I love Doom 2016. But I do love the Dark Ages more. And I love Doom Eternal the most. Like, bro, I put so much time into Doom Eternal, it's not even funny. I think the only thing I haven't done on Eternal is beat Ultra Nightmare, which is... Or is it? No, I beaten it on Nightmare. It's the mode that essentially where, like, if you die, you restart the campaign. I haven't beaten it on that. I couldn't. My brain would absolutely freaking just explode if I was... Yeah, if I had to play that. They do have that same mode, however, in the Dark Ages as well. I did beat Extra Life mode in Eternal, so I'll probably beat, like, the Extra Life equivalent in this game after I do my Nightmare run. So, basically how I play Doom games is I play it through on the second to last difficulty. So, I played Ultra Nightmare instead of playing Nightmare, so now I'm going to go through and do my Nightmare run of the game, and then from there I'll do my Extra Life, mode or whatever and leave it at that, because I'm not gonna restart the campaign after dying, because I'm gonna fucking lose my shit if that's the case. But yeah, the game is really good. Plenty of content. I got the game 2 days early, because I got the, premium edition. So I was able to have more time to sit down and play than mostly everybody else, because the game just came out yesterday. And I beat, like, 4 or 5 missions today on stream. So, but thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will catch you all in the next one.